Politics and current affairs issues may sound casual when it's discussed by the wrong persons in the wrong circle. But with Dimeji Daniels, the discussion can only get more interesting. The analysis, the interviews, the findings, the details, the actions, the argument, the hot seat. Only on one show, The Round Table. Join Dimeji Daniels on Adaba 88.9 FM every Mondays between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. as he tackles matters arising in the news and political space with his prolific guests discussing issues of politics and current affairs. The Round Table with Dimeji Daniels. Let the conversation begin.
From studios of Adaba 88.9 FM, it's the Roundtable. My name is Dimeji Daniels. All across Nigeria, there is a news of crisis from Ibadan, that is in Oyo State, to Ondo, to Ogun State, to Zamfara, to Kaduna. You hear news of farmers clashing with S-men. You hear news about banditry, about kidnapping, and so many other other crimes. Well, the major one that everybody is talking about in the country, especially in the southwest part of Nigeria, is the clashes between farmers and S-men. You see S-men moving from the Sahel region and coming into coastal countries. Well, countries in the Sahel region include northern Senegal, southern Mauritania, there's central Mali, there's northern Burkina Faso, that is part of Burkina Faso, the extreme south of Algeria, there's Niger, the extreme north of Nigeria as well, and the extreme north of Cameroon, the Central African Republic, Central Chad, and Central and Southern Sudan, the extreme north of South Sudan, Eritrea, and the extreme north of Ethiopia. Now, the Sahel region is not conducive for farming, as it is covered mostly by grasses, woodland, and then shrubs. So it allowed others to do their work without having to destroy anyone's farms. But the region was later hit by a massive drought. That it was without water or grass and for so many years, and cows died in the process. It got so bad that they were referred to the Sahel region as Africa's hunger bed. The land became so degraded that the United Nations in 1994 had to declare June the 12th as the World Day to combat desertification and drought. So, like I said, others started migrating into coastal countries, and more often than not, clashing with farmers in the process. There are statistics indicating that fatalities from other farmers' clashes in Nigeria average more than 2,000 annually. From 2011 to 2016. In spite of effort at subnational, national, and international levels, there's still no solution to this problem. It's also bad that eviction notices are being issued now in Ondo by non-state actors in Oyo State and even in Ogun State. And then of recent, the interview by the Bauchi State Governor, Bala Mohammed, saying that others need to carry AK-47, but his aide has come out to say that it was misunderstood. Reacting to the various eviction notices being issued to ASMED across the country, the National Secretary of Miyetti Allah, Alassane Saleh, said that nobody has the right. If you say you're going to evict us, we will resist eviction. We have been surviving in our environment. If we do not resist, we'll be wiped out of the planet. If you kill a herder, don't go and sleep. We will revisit you. And it is not because we ate your tribe. People attack others, and in one way or the other, others have found a way to retaliate. All those who travel to the Benin Republic and others are coming back home. All those saying they will bar foreign others from entering Nigeria are just playing to the gallery, because if they are aware of the ECOWAS protocols, they would know they cannot chase them away. That is why the position of the Bauchi State Governor is the true position. You have no right to evict anybody from any part of the country, and number has increased recently because of the tension in Ghana and Benin Republics. The ones in Benin Republic have integrated with the Yoruba in such a way that they speak the language. They were initially living in the southwest, and they are coming back. Well, that's excerpt from the interview granted by the National Secretary of Miyetti Allah. Well, he referred in that interview to the ECOWAS protocol. The ECOWAS protocol on transhumance is part of what we'll be talking about on the program this afternoon is something that it appears people don't often talk about, this ECOWAS protocol. We'll be looking at that and talking about some of the provisions of the ECOWAS protocol. What President Muhammadu Buhari is also talking of, a statement by Garba Shehu, which is in today's paper, says that the president has vowed that his government will protect all religious and ethnic groups, whether majority or minority, in line with his responsibility under the Constitution. In a reaction to report of the breakout of violence in some parts of the country by some ethnic and sectional groups, President Buhari warned that the government will not allow any ethnic or religious group to stoke up hatred and violence against other groups. The president condemned such violence and gave assurance that his government will act decisively to stop the spread of any such violence. Well, this is not the first time that the Muhammadu Buhari presidency will be condemning violence, banditry, and what Nigerians are saying is that they need actions beyond all these press statements. Let me quickly introduce my studio guest. With me this afternoon, security expert Mr. Abu Adams. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much.
And also chartered accountant and public commentator Mr. Rotimi Ogbule. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you, Mr. Dimeji.
Also ICT expert Mr. Tosin Jagede. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, today on the program, we'll be talking about the escalating, rising tensions across the country. Let me begin from Mr. Abu Adams. At some point, even though there were crises between farmers and us men, it was not as serious as this. Then now it appears that it has escalated to another dimension. What do you think changed the dynamics?
I think from the security point of view, the major factor or the major factors that changed the narrative that we are in today, one, like you said, the uncontrolled migration of these headers from all over Africa into Nigeria. And while this was going on, we have always complained about our porous borders and the like. And so they were coming at a rate that we could not match, their entry with our own ability, to stop them. Secondly, we have always had, the problem of a kind of delayed response to security challenges by the political class in this country. Because at the time these headers started coming in, and we're noticing that they were coming, the clashes were taking new dimensions, the headers are in possession of sophisticated arms and ammunitions. There was no concerted effort, to address this issue. And the headers continue to perpetrate their evil. Don't forget that the farmers we are talking about, they stay in one place. They have been there as the place they know as their means of livelihood. And you and I have seen sometimes the activities of the headers are sheer wickedness. You have seen some videos where they will enter the farm, they harvest the crop there, and they feed them to their animals. And those are areas that the citizenry expected a very stern, response from government, in dealing with the situation. But you see, we are in a situation where people are over-conscious about what they say, about what they do, and you still allow situations to escalate. And while this was going on, people began to read. Don't forget that we have our own other issues of nationalism. Let me use the word. Some persons are not satisfied with the present constitution. They don't believe is serving, the interests of the federating units in this country. And so those sentiments began to play in. If you look at...
so I say politics is part of...
why as a matter of fact, is one of the major factors. And why we are saying that we needed to respond more pragmatically than what we are doing. If you look at the global terrorism index, Nigeria is for 2020. Nigeria is number 3. I think outside Afghanistan and Pakistan, we are number 3. And In that report, out of all the people killed in Nigeria for terrorism, banditry, herdsmen attack, herdsmen alone accounted for 26%.
Yeah.
So you will agree that this is a major challenge that we needed to face it more squarely. This have not been the case, as it were. They have been taken as the normal criminal activities that we see on a daily basis.
So you believe the problem is more serious than we're taking it?
Of course it is, because as it is now, okay, if you look at in the southwest, for instance, where Amoteku has been put in place as part of the things to checkmate criminality, the headers have still not stopped attacking people on the farm. So it shows, and if you look at some of the videos, as if they have an armed structure, you know, entirely to deal with the situation. That is the area.
But let me ask you this:
yes.
if you look at the situation I painted at the beginning of the program, where they are coming from the Sahel region, which used to be semi-arid, where there are grasses and all of that, but now the situation has changed. They need water and pasture for their animals, and then so that means they can't migrate to coastal countries. But then they can do that. The animals can graze without attack. I'm coming. The animals can graze without them destroying people's farms. Why do you think they have taken that route of destroying people's farms, of attacking people? Is that in response to something that happened in the past?
Don't forget
some sort of aggression.
Don't forget that where they are coming from. They are coming from areas that have been faced with a lot of I don't want to use
conflicts.
Okay, a lot of conflicts. They are coming from areas that there have been a lot of conflict. It's not as if they have been staying in peace with those people. And so while they were coming, they know that they were going to face challenges of resistance from Nigeria. So most of them got themselves armed. Battle ready, as it were, and that is why they don't seem to be abating with all the threats, with all the measures we are trying to put in place. Okay, now if you look at it, just on 13th, there was a meeting called by the National Security Advisor of all chiefs of staff, heads of security and intelligence agencies. As at now, the government, using the instrumentality of the Office of the National Security Advisor, wants to start a program, a coordinated program, according to the release, to deal with the situation. And part of it is there's going to be a kind of town hall meeting with all the governors in a particular geopolitical zone and security agencies and their heads, you know, and of course other stakeholders.
One head, I believe today with governors in the northwest.
Exactly.
Security service chiefs.
Exactly. And they want to do this across the nation. But you see, thank God it's coming at this time. Maybe that is one of the effects of the change in leadership in the services. But those are things that long ago were supposed to have been done, and see whether it's going to work for us or not. But at any rate, we are the way we are.
Okay, let me turn to Mr. Tosin Jegede. In conflict management, one of the ways that you de-escalate tensions is by showing sympathy, especially to the party which is considered the victim. But when you listen to those in government and supposed leaders, you get the impression that it appears government has not shown enough compassion and understanding from the utterances, the actions that are coming from government, not just at the national level, sometimes at the subnational level. Why do you think this has been?
Yeah, thank you very much. What I've seen with reactions and with those who are decided to keep quiet is everybody trying to be politically correct. Nobody is addressing the enormity of the problem. We're not looking at the fact that this is no longer between the herders and the farmers. It's no longer communal. This is already threatening the fabric of our unity. And everybody that is making statements is making statements with the next election in view. in the opening statement you spoke about the Bauchi State governor. His statement is practically to impress those that will vote for him in the next election. That's it. So you see everybody, and for those who even kept quiet and they are not talking, it's also to be politically correct that you don't want to lose your vote, because the people that, okay, if I sympathize with this side, the side that probably attacked them are the block where my vote is coming from. I don't want them to see me as being against them. So I would rather keep quiet or being inactive, or if I'm going to speak, I will just speak out of excitement. Just like what is disheartening when a person occupying the position of a governor make a statement on camera and come back to say I was misunderstood, I was misquoted, because by your position you know that what you are saying is as good as law. The moment a governor comes and say they have a right to carry AK-47 to defend,
you should know there are people who feed off that.
He should know that those who are carrying AK-47 will see it as a justification for their action.
Of course, the National Secretary of Mieti Allah referred to that particular interview.
And the farmers will also will be thinking that probably we should also buy AK-47 to defend our farms. Of course. So the moment we get to that point, you know that we are going into anarchy. So we should, what I think basically is that everybody occupy political position, and it has nothing to do with political party. Because when you see the statement made by the then state governor,
who is a member of the PDP,
was a little bit to the extreme this way. And when Bauchi state governor was going to respond, who is also a member of the PDP, his own statement was also on this side. Right. Extreme here, extreme here. So it's basically about everybody simply trying to defend their trade, which is votes. But the truth, which I think those in government and in authority should understand, is that if everybody in Nigeria is dead because we are fighting ourselves, there is nobody to govern. There is nobody to vote. There is no vote to fight over. So I think we should all come together and appreciate that this issue is beyond a farmer fighting irregular herdsmen. In fact, that has always been happening when you have a farm before, and herdsman comes there. There's always a mechanism of settling that. Is either he pays you, or he gives you one of his cow, or it has always been happening when.
But that's no longer the situation.
It's no longer the situation. Now you see somebody comes onto your farm, is eating your farm, and is telling you are not going to do anything about it. Exactly. That is a different thing that I have yams, and you are eating the leaves of the yam, but you are harvesting the yam to feed the tuber to your. That's it at another level. And like what you read out at the opening, I think is a reason why those in authority should know that if everybody around us are facing drought, and you cannot rear cattle without water, it's something that we should know that definitely those neighbors rearing cattle will come. Now, what have we done?
That brings me to my next question. It's not just about Buhari, because sometimes when this is discussed, people try to say, Buhari presidency. Before now, the ECOWAS protocol that I referred to in my opening statement came into being in 2008, before Buhari became president.
Exactly.
ECOWAS has been meeting on the same issue for some time. Yes. The drought we are talking about in the Sahel region, the one in between 1984 and 1985, that was not the first one. Yeah. There was one in the early 19th century, and there was migration at that time. Another one happened around 1960 something, and migration happened. So, and all along, the United Nations, the ECOWAS, they have prescriptions, solutions to all of these things, which it appears that we have not really done anything to prepare for this.
Do I come in?
Yes.
Thank you very much. You see, my problem has always been this. Why is it that we cannot be anticipatory in our actions of governance? We have had the West, projecting that Nigeria might not even be there as a country.
Yes.
As at 2015. And even sometimes before then. And we saw, like you rightly said, that these guys are coming from areas that there have been conflicts, which they have been involved, and most of them will be moving with their arsenals. We did not think of what to do about it. Let me give you another scenario. Do you know that those again that are coming could embolden those that you have been living peacefully with?
Yes.
And they could even, radicalize them. Let me use the word, even though they are not said to be terrorists. But what is terrorism? Terrorism is using violence or force to frighten or intimidate anybody to achieve your aim, either by occupation or a political end or an economic end. So their actions does not quite different from what the normal terrorist does. So we are not anticipatory. We are always waiting, and just like I said before, the meeting that was just held, that I know the beginning is today. This is something that would have taken place long time before now. And by now we should have known whether it's succeeding or not, and begin to find another fine-tuning. This we have not been doing, and that is why, and because of the so many things, we are now bringing it down to two issues in Nigeria, which is the deadliest of them. We are reading religion and ethnicity
into it,
and
it has nothing to do.
That which has nothing to do with it, because these are, like you said, I've always told people, all the issues, the economic issues, the security issues, apart from security issues that have been somehow recent started from early 2020 and so on, so much, because Metasine came in 1987.
Yes.
Some of us were in service, and it was dealt with from Kaduna to Kano and Bulunkutu, dealt with immediately. But this, because we started reading all manner of meanings into them, it becomes difficult to deal with. And until we realize that the little incident, if you know the origin of the incident in Ibadan, it's quite pathetic. It has nothing to do with two people in the market. One thing happened, and before you know, and now you see some hard tags, already. In some areas, I saw some yesterday.
Stop killing others.
Exactly. I saw it yesterday, and I said, "What is it? Why are we just still folding and allowing things to go like this?" I think we need to sit up. Even the headers we are talking about that are in the forest. If there is a common understanding, we can put like I've always advised, let communities put themselves together. Put the normal headers they know that lives within their community together as a kind of task force, and begin to look for the foreigners that are creating problem within your own society. If we do this nationwide, we'll get to where we are going to.
Let me turn to Mr. Rotimi Ogle. We've had president before Muhammadu Buhari. Just like I said, the issue of drought in the Sahel region is not a recent one. So we had Jonathan, good Lord Jonathan, before Buhari, because people say Buhari is Fulani. Fine, it's Fulani. We had good Lord Jonathan, a South Southerner, before Buhari. We had Obasanjo, a South Westerner, before Buhari. So why do you think we're not able to prepare effectively for what we knew was going to happen?
Do we really know that this was going to happen?
Yes.
We should. Of course we wouldn't know, because ECOWAS was planning for it that they won't move into coastal countries.
I like that. We should know.
Yes.
That does not mean we actually knew that this was going to happen.
And as governors, you anticipate and plan.
I will tell you this. My knowledge of security apparatus is that they are trained, the security operatives, they are trained so well that they even have the discerning ability to understand the mechanics in the community that can culminate into crisis.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are so trained.
Yes.
Now, if we now have a security system in place, you have officials, you have functional security operatives, you have the military, the police, the SSS, the military intelligence, military police within the military, you have the Navy, you have the Air Force, you have the Civil Defense, you have even the immigration, because all of these security agencies, they have intelligence units within them.
Yes.
If you have all of this, and we cannot anticipate that things will get to this level, then I should begin to entertain a kind of fear that there is internal complicity in this matter. This is the way I'm looking at it.
Thank you.
See, if we are saying some Fulani, Nigerians, Burkinabes, and some Malians, they migrated. They were looking for married region where they
pasture.
Yes. Well, it's been there all over, and we know that now that they are coming around, there have been reports of series of departure incidents that were clear departures from what we used to know. They were there on the social media, they were there everywhere. People can see. If you now see a situation like that things are growing up, there are some others who do not understand how the local herders here used to weather the storm of drought. If they now come into our country, and what they are doing is when they get to a cassava plantation, they uproot and begin to use it to feed their cows. If the Fulani locals that are here, if they are saying that, if they cannot checkmate them, there is problem. And if the security operatives cannot discern that, if we allow this thing to continue and we don't move it swiftly, there is problem. And look at what it has caused now. It has led to what I call deep-seated ethnic bitterness. Deep-seated ethnic bitterness. To the extent that
there's a lot of bottled up anger.
Yes, when you now see a normal Hausa person and Yoruba person, whether it's a cobbler,
they don't look at your Fulani or your Taraba.
Yes,
Yoruba sees everybody as Fulani now.
Yes,
even with my
a normal cobbler that will come to where I used to play you, that will help me to shine my shoe, maybe help me to do some little local manicures, that will just laugh over and speak little answer to him and he will go his way. Now, if he does anything that maybe it costs my leg and I say, why are you doing this? And you see, you now begin to feel
impute.
Yes, I mean unprintable words because there are bottled anger.
Okay,
so we have gotten to that level, and like he has rightly suggested, it is better that all the people in the position of authority realize that if they look away and they start to make statements that will protect their votes in 2023, it is those who are alive that will witness 2023. It is better they swiftly move into the say now. Begin to talk like national leaders.
Exactly.
Begin to look at this issue like Nigeria issues. Begin to see it beyond the border of PDP, APC. Begin to see it as issues that can truncate our togetherness, our unity. If we don't see it that way, the danger ahead is even worse than the one we are looking at presently.
Okay, just a minute. At the beginning, I referred to an interview granted by the Governor of Bauchi. There was one that he granted in October 2020 about this, when he was answering questions about Ruga. You know, at some point, Ruga was suggested as a solution. Let's quickly listen to that one.
There is a lot of mistrust and misconception with regards to the Fulani man. The Fulani man is a global or an African person. He moves from the Gambia, from Senegal, and his nationality is just a Fulani man. And as a person, I may have my relations in the Cameroon, but they are also Fulani men. I have relations because from the maternal side, I'm a Fulani man. And that is why we want to educate people. A Fulani man sees himself as a Bayelsan, as somebody coming from the Niger Delta, because he speaks the Niger Delta language, which you and I don't. And of course, we would have to just take this as part of our own heritage, something that is African, and that we cannot just close the border and say the Fulani man is just a Nigerian or this. No. In most cases, the crises are precipitated by those outside Nigeria. When there is a reprisal, it is not the Fulani man within Nigeria that causes it. It is that culture of getting revenge, which is embedded in the tradition of the Fulani man, that attracts reprisal from all over going to give Nigeria the opportunity to really have the best in terms of documentation in the demographics. Because, as I said, the Fulani man settles anywhere he can feed his cattle. And so, if they are put in one place and they are made to understand that this is to save them and their animals, they are exposed to the vagaries of the forest and what is going on, cattle rustling, killings and what have you, and that's why it is important for them to understand that staying in one place is good. These forests are there anyway. If you don't occupy them and create a colony out of them, they create places for the criminals. And today, that's why you have the Sambisa forest, because it's not being utilized. Do you delineate and then really know who is not a Fulani man from Nigeria? They are all Nigerians, because I said their identity, their own citizenship is Nigerian, even though we have relations all over the world, all over Africa. And so, presumably they are Nigerians. I think you get me. That is the misunderstanding. They move from one place to the other, and they have relations, kith and kins in all the parts of the country, and even outside the country.
Well, if you listen to the governor of Bauchi, Bala Mohammed, you get the impression that they know that he knows that Fulani will be coming in from other countries into Nigeria.
Yes.
And it seems to be saying that we should all accept it.
Yes.
And he's saying they are presumably Nigerians. What's your reaction to that interview?
Let me say this. This is exactly what is creating the problem. You know already that these people that are coming have not been Nigerians, but for the fact that they are Fulanis, they are automatically Nigerians, and they are not acting to according to the culture of the people that they meet there. Instead, they are attacking them on their farms and eating their crops and all the like. And in fact, himself has said it. If you did listen, that if you touch them, there are people that don't forgive. They retaliate. They have culture of revenge. And look at all the antecedents of the crisis. It's just like there's a timetable of if this happens, you must do this. And this is not helping our situation. But there's something I want to clear. The last speaker did speak about a likeliness of
internal complicity,
particularly for security and intelligence agencies. And let me tell you this as an insider: all over the world, security agencies and intelligence organizations, even nations with the strongest institutions, their roles are advisory to government in power. And that's why we have always said that everything is about the political will to do the right thing. Look at the US. Look at
people within the
look at the US
who are sympathetic towards the cause of the others.
It is possible. That one may be possible. But let me give you an example of US. In the 9/11, America had the intelligence of that impending doom.
Yes.
But they did not use it because they think that it may not be a correct intelligence. Or even if they, for whatever reason, they think it's a correct intelligence, there could be other factors in their mind that they did not use it. So also are the roles of intelligence organizations, including Nigeria. If you look at the Boko Haram thing, they have been there from 2002. The live one that everybody understands. You remember that during Obasanjo's government, when CNN published that there was kidnapping in the Niger Delta, government denied woefully, and in fact they used their influence to make the CNN to sack the guy that reported it. But was there no kidnapping? So that is how government had been in most cases. But again, the security agencies. Let's come down to our country. What is the level of their capacity in terms of logistics? Look at the forests that we are saying that abounds all over this country. What is the technology that is backing up the security agencies in monitoring these forests? If you look at most of our security agencies at checkpoints, is the physical examination. Are there technology somewhere that can just look as you are passing, is seeing you and reporting to them? There is so much for us to do. So those are the things that we have really not been able to sit down.
Let me quickly ask you this before I move on to my other guest. Apart from lack of water and pasture in the Sahel region, do you see an international dimension to the hydrological security situation in Nigeria? Why I'm asking you that? I've read a report of claims that certain countries with area surveillance capabilities, they know these terrorists, they see them in the Sahel region, they allow them to move around, they allow them maybe of certain interest against Nigeria. Is that true?
I personally believe that Nigeria is not at the best of times all the time with the superpowers. You will agree with me that there is no way they would want you to be what they are. And so even assistance that there are some, you remember that some of them refused to sell us arms during Jonathan's administration, and we tried to even look for a third party, to get arms for our fighting forces. So these are things that are in their position, and that is why we need to have political will to develop ourselves technologically, to be able to do things on our own. Every time we are there outside looking for who to give us technology, equipment to buy. And this equipment, if I want to pull you down and I have the equipment, I have a way of playing you out of it. And some of these things are at play. So
okay. Let me turn to Mr. Rotimi Ogle. Do you also believe that some of these problems could be because of the claims that some certain countries, outside of Africa, see Nigeria as a threat to their economic interest, not just in Africa, even in West Africa?
In this kind of situation where you can hardly pin anything to a particular source, you never can rule out that. In the game of high-tech international politics, part of the strategy you use to reduce the economic effect or economic potential of countries that you think that they pose threat is possibly to do things that will, affect the economy in such a way that they can have recourse to you. So I won't foreclose that. But what I will just say is that even when we have outsiders kicking our butts economically, if we don't give way for the effect to be pronounced in our local economy, then the effect will not be as obvious as this. So it boils down to the way we manage our internal security. You will always have that. Nigeria is, for God's sake, the largest African population in the world. That means we will have international attractions. We will have attentions will be here. Economically, politically, attentions will be here. So that's not unfounded. But what we should work on is that Nigerians must begin to put their eyes on those things that will affect all of us. We should stop dissipating energy on things that will not affect. Let me give you an example. I was telling somebody this morning, I said, okay, we have this ability to move to the street and protest against the policies of the government. I said that is the strength of the citizens when it is used in a positive way. That if we deploy the same strength in a negative way, it can bring down a country in just 1 week. That there will be civil everywhere, there will be commotion. I said, so I would rather advise that look at some national asset of government that are wasting away, united houses in all the 36 states. Nobody is saying that, okay, can we constitute a kind of investment company that all these assets will be given to them? Let's have a kind of national international valuers who will put this into a kind of monetary value. Then anybody, that company that is taking it over, you must pay also percentage of money to government percentage every year. While we keep our national assets, we still hand money on them. Why are we not talking about this? Why is it that we'll be interested in making some protests and reduce it to a kind of a personal issue? So I said, when we reduce protest to a personal issue, then we are putting the unity of this country at stake. That's why that's what I'm saying, that all of us must begin to see Nigeria as our common constituency. We must not see either Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa as our constituency. If we say we want to go our way, some people are saying, they may not know the economic advantage that we derive now from our population. If anybody is coming to African continent to do business, if anybody is thinking of first place of foreign direct investment, they will think of Nigeria. Not because our name is so good, not because it has NIG, but because there is a big market, the population is intimidating here.
Yes.
Everybody who wants to bring his business to Nigeria first, before he takes it elsewhere. So the moment we are not together, we will lose that advantage pronto. And that is when we now see how vulnerable we are. So we should continue to appeal to our people to see this issue of togetherness as something that we must not treasure. So we must not fold our hands and say, okay, some people are exerting pressure against our economy so that they can have this advantage, and as such, we're helpless. No, it still boils down to the doorstep of the security apparatus that we have in the country.
Okay, let me talk to Mr. Tosin Yagare. The presidency is calling for town hall meetings that started already in the Northwest. How effective do you think this can be? During the Obasanjo presidency, when the Niger Delta militancy was at the head, town hall meetings were also held, and it appeared that it was effective at that time. But if you look at the dynamics of the Niger Delta militancy, they're quite different from what we have now when it comes to the issue of farmers and axemen clashing. Do you think that town hall meetings will be effective in this instance?
Town hall meeting will be effective, but in my view, the first town hall meeting to be held should be the president meeting critical stakeholder,
like Obasanjo did.
And yes,
at leadership level.
At leadership level, because when Obasanjo was going to start the town hall meeting, he flew the warring faction into Abuja, sat with them, and read the riot act. Now, the president needs, until the president does that, we have seen meeting. While the president is not talking, everybody believes in Nigeria that nothing is happening. But we need a president who we call the leadership of Metiala. It's a different thing that you're having town hall meeting, and that notorious secretary of Metiala goes on Channels TV tomorrow and says something that completely negates everything you have done. Or a governor, like the governor of Bauchi, just got hot-headed one day and will tell us that a Fulani man is in Nigeria, no matter where he's located in the world. He's a Nigerian. Anywhere is located in the world, as long as it's a Fulani man, it's a Nigerian. And we all know that by history, Fulani are not even the original occupant of Nigeria. They migrated, they came here.
Yes.
So if you now tell me that any Fulani anywhere is a Nigerian, so how did he get to that conclusion?
I think that's citizenship.
How did he attain that? So we need the president meeting these people with the governors, the Metiala factions, the Yoruba Obas, the Obis in the East, bringing all of them together. And just like he said when we were going into the 2019 election, that anybody that touches the ballot box, shoot aside. If a president could give such...
You say he has to make definitive statement.
He needs to make the very statement that if you see anybody who is not a security agent carrying arm in this country, shoot aside. Just like what the Ghanaian president did. The Ghanaian president said, I don't want cattle roaming around in my country.
Yes.
I want it ranch. So anybody you see taking cattle from one place to the other, kill him and the cattle.
And they were doing so.
And immediately, the others went and they got ranched. Then the minute they got ranched, he gave them license gun to defend themselves within their ranch.
Exactly.
So until we see leadership taking definite position, but the moment a governor speaks today and says the forest reserve is not the house of anybody. Okay, if you are in the forest reserve, we understand that killer riders are there, but before we clear the forest, we don't want to clear those who are not killers. Everybody should get out of the forest so we can take ownership of the place. And somebody that speaks for the president says you don't have right to say that. In Southwest said we wanted to go with Amotekun, and the next person that watered the whole effort down was the AGF, who says you do not have the right to do that. So the moment you see that coming from the presidency and you are not going about doing the town hall meeting, people just see it as a regular meeting to calm us down and to share evidence.
Let's look at the ECOWAS protocol on transhumans. what transhuman means is the seasonal movement of acts leaving their usual grazing areas in search of water and pasture. Well, the protocol allows others to move across West African countries and even prescribes that the government of those countries has to protect them. Let me read certain articles of that of the protocol. Article 3 says all animals of the bovine, caprine, cameline, equine plus asinine species shall be allowed free passage across the borders of all member states under the conditions set out in this decision. Article 4. This decision shall not apply to animals that are taken from one country to another to be sold or animals not referred to in Article 3 above. Article 5. All transhumans livestock shall be allowed free passage across points of entry into and departure from each country on the condition that they have the ECOWAS International Transhuman Certificate, a sample of which is annexed to this regulation. Now, this is one thing that Nigeria is signatory to this agreement, but this is one thing that the Nigerian government has not been doing. People, others are just coming in. There is no certificate, and what this certificate is meant to do is to enable authorities to monitor the acts before they leave the country of origin, to protect the health of local acts, to make it possible to inform the host communities of the arrival of transhumans animals. Now, Article 14 says each host country shall fix the period during which migrating livestock may enter into and depart from its territory and inform the other state accordingly. Now, Article 15 says each state shall define the areas where transhuman animal may be stocked and shall determine the maximum capacity of each zone thus identified. The accompanying axeman must pen up his ad in the zone of which is directed by officials at the point of entry. And it also talks about dispute. Any dispute between farmers and nomadic axemen shall first be judged by an arbitration commission on the basis of information gathered by the said commission. Then this commission shall be composed of representatives of the axemen, farmers, livestock officers, and agricultural officers, officials from the Ministry of Forest and Water Resources, and local political and administrative authorities. And Article 19 says, in the event that an amicable settlement is not reached, the dispute may be resolved in the law court in conformity with the rules governing settlement of contentious issues. Now, this is so clear.
Thank you, sir.
Nigeria is signatory to this protocol.
Thank you.
Why are we not following?
From all you have read, is there anything that has been put in place by this country
Not even
compliance? Does it seem as if they are aware of what you have read?
We are signatory to it.
And yet we are signatory to it.
The meeting was held in Abuja.
And now when a government says, look, come and register, let me know who you are, that certainly should be even in accordance with this ECOWAS protocol.
Yes.
Yet there are complaints.
And the protocol, like you read,
so you can see
at the point of entry, it's just a human being is entering a particular country.
You should even decide how long you stay.
They give you visa. Your place. But it's not for you to come and become citizen.
But if government is going to defend this now, you see a government official coming out
and government is supposed to protect you.
Just take it one at a time.
Government is supposed to protect you, so you are not supposed to come with your own arms. But the contrary is the case here. That is why we say most of the things, as far as I'm concerned, boil down on the political will of government. You see, and like I said, because we are not doing what we are supposed to do, the citizens are reading series of meanings. Like you said, the crisis that we have in this country today, it has not just started during this administration. It has been there. They have been coming in off and on. We have been having challenges. And
the issue now is it's perception.
Yes,
Buhari presidents.
Exactly.
His perception.
Exactly, and that is why even people in his own government, they are speaking at par. I give you a different look at the governor of Kaduna State. He's opposed to negotiations
with bandits
or amnesty with bandits, but his colleagues
in Zamfara
and that line are of the opinion that if this can solve the problem Why not? Because we are faced with a lot of problems now. If we can approach them from various...
There is a report where Gumi said, some of the bandits said that they want to acquire
aircraft. Exactly. Yes. He said it yesterday. I read it.
So they can from the ground they can shoot aircraft from
exactly.
the ground.
The same Kaduna State, just I think within the weekend, about 23 persons were killed within few days. Among them are our security forces that were ambushed. I mean, so you can see, if government officials at that level have not even agreed what to do, when then are we going?
Okay, at another meeting of ECOWAS in 2018, one of its recommendations, let me quickly read it to you. The urgent need to articulate a clear policy guideline on the development of modern ranches, including its full value chain in member states across the region. Mr. Tosin Jagere, do you see ranching as a solution to this problem?
In fact, the solution, I've not actually read it.
But should it be in all states?
It depends.
Or states that
ranching should be, if you want to do ranching should actually be the responsibility of the man who has the cattle.
Should be private.
Government should simply be involved at the point of making laws, open grazing banned, moving your cattle around banned. So if you need to have it, ranch it. So you will now determine where is economically viable for you to host a ranch. Where do we have land and it's cheap? Now, if a state government decide to say, okay, I want to make money from this process and I have enough land, they could say, okay, just like Kano State governor said, I have land, all of you come to my state.
But the problem, let me quickly ask you this. Now, the axemen, they know that even in northern Nigeria, there's desert encroachment.
Yeah.
They know that southern Nigeria is more conducive for them.
Yeah.
And if you look, many people in the south do not seem to agree with the issue of bringing people to do ranching in the state.
It is conducive to them because the cattle are roaming around. If you ranch cattle in Kano, people in Kano are drinking water.
They are doing farming.
And they are doing farming, and they don't import their water from the west. So if you ranch them in Kano, where you place them, you can feed them there and water them there. But because they are looking for free yam tuber, free cassava tuber that they can feed the animal with in the west, yes, that may be an attraction. But if there's a law that says, but when we look at this ECOWAS protocol clearly, it's not our problem. If we follow this ECOWAS protocol clearly, we won't even have this crisis that we have now.
Yeah.
The ECOWAS protocol is clearly, if you just follow this clearly, this problem will be solved.
Okay, Mr. Rotimi Ogle, finally, how best can we de-escalate the rising tensions in the country?
One, the security agency should, first of all, define the problems very well, which is herders versus farmers, and the what do they call them now? These attackers, the bandits, the violent, the bandits.
I'm not just talking about Asman.
Yes.
I'm talking about everything now. Banditry,
yes.
Insurgents.
No, the entire security challenge came from this source. So the farmer herders class crisis, they must first of all address that. And the best way to address it, they must come to this stark reality, is for each state to make sure that they provide a kind of support for creation of grazing areas and raise tax or levies from it. That's one. Once that is done, then it means you have been able to classify genuine business from those with wicked intention.
You're saying the asmen should be taxed?
They should. Their activities should be taxed by respective state.
Do you know how jihad war started?
How did it start?
When the Ottoman down for you, when it started jihad war,
yes.
Some of the axemen then in Gobi State supported it because the ruler of that particular Hausa state had imposed levy on the herdsmen. So because of that, they supported Udbada Fodio because they didn't like it.
Wait. The truth on the
Because of that, let's move on. We'll get to that some other day.
No, if you go to buy cow now, if you go to buy cow where they're selling cow, the owner of the cow that brought the cow to sell in that place will pay a certain amount of money.
I know that. Let me move to Mr. Abuada.
Yeah, thank you.
How best do you think we can de-escalate the rising tensions in the country? And I'm not just talking about all the security issues now.
No, but let me. I want to address that of the headers issues. We should now know that it's a security issue. It's no more ordinary economic issues. Therefore, I would want governments at all levels should meet and take the issue of ranching seriously. However, these are persons that are not used to buying anything. They are used to free feeding, cutting your farm. So they will not put that kind of money. Government can set up a fund as a kind of loan. And while states will put head together in areas like in Ondo State, 4 places, 5 places, 10 local governments who can get land. Out of this fund, state government will be paid. Don't forget that in the north, the headers pay what we call jangali. That is cattle tax. Okay. So those are taxes that must be paid. And the fund that the federal government, through their business, to be borne by the federal government anyway, can also help them in financing the ranching we are talking about. The issue is that if they are not going about
Mr. Jagere, can you do that under 20 seconds? Yeah. How best can we de-escalate the rising tensions in the country?
Leaders should be present. Our leaders should be present. You cannot stay aloof. If you want to lead from the front and let the people see you leading from the front. That's, I think, the solution.
All right, let me thank you very much, Mr. Sosijaga. Thank you very much for coming, Mr. Rotimi Ogule. Mr. Abu Adams, thank you very much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
And that's it on today's edition of The Roundtable. My name is Dimeji. Good afternoon.